So, I'm disturbed that he would walk down this path with his life and his career. I don't know whether he's innocent or guilty. A judge, a jury will figure that out. But I am bothered that this player, who has had all the benefits of being a scholarship athlete and has made himself a great kicker and wound up getting drafted and signed this big money contract, that he would ever do anything like this. And I'm equally bothered that he walked across that campus for 10 months with knowledge in his pocket of what he got himself involved in on October 17th. And then he makes the public statement, these stories are not true. I will tell you my story, but he can't tell the story now because it's under investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been released. To me, it's just absolutely stunning that a player who had everything in front of him would get involved in an incident like this, knowing what's in front of him. And he lived a lie for 10 or 11 months on that campus. And everybody liked that kid. And everybody saluted that kid for what he made himself into.
Mm-hmm.
And now we find out that this kid got involved in this in some form or fashion. So he really comes out looking bad in this. It's going to be a long period of time before we get any outcome as it relates to a civil trial, as it relates to criminal charges, which would then lead to another trial. It'll be a while before we'll know whether Matt Araiza ever gets a chance to play pro football again, or whether he winds up in prison. Like I said, there's a big gray area. There's a bunch of he said, she said stuff that has to be worked out.
I mean, speaking for myself as a fan of the program, and here I live in the Poway Rancho Bernardo community, and so when Matt Araiza was punting the ball 80 yards, when Matt Araiza was this national celebrity as the punt god, and he went to school right down the street from me at Rancho Bernardo High, I was really proud. It was like the local boy does good. I mean, it was pretty obvious he was going to have an opportunity in the NFL, and likely be drafted, which means there's signing bonus money. It's just a terrible shame.
It's a downer.
It totally. I mean, because we were so high on this young man, and now he's an alleged criminal here. And it's a disgrace on the program. And frankly, it reflects poorly on the entire San Diego community. Justice needs to be, needs to be had. The investigation needs to continue, get all the facts on the table. And then the justice system, the NFL, and the Aztecs football program have to step up and do the right thing.
Well, I will tell you, going forward, we're now aware that San Diego State brought a counselor in just a couple of weeks after this alleged incident to meet with the players. And she is a counselor who was formerly at Oregon State, who got assaulted by Oregon State players.
Mm-hmm.
She went into nursing and has become a rape victim advocate. Her name's Brenda Tracy. And she met for 3 hours with all the male athletes at San Diego State. And I give the credit to the university and the athletic department for being fast forward and proactive to try to bring more information made available to the players.
Mm-hmm.
But that counselor met with those players for 3 hours and talked about every facet of relationships, young men towards women. And obviously tough conversations involving date rape, and tough conversations involving homosexuality, and conversation about drug use and domestic abuse. She covered the waterfront in terms of things that can happen and how you're supposed to handle those things.
Well, the story that I read, the article in the paper, was in the UT. I think it was yesterday or today. And, good on the university for bringing her in. But I think they brought her in pretty early on in the process when they had, some of the initial news of the incident. But she was not fully aware because it was still behind closed doors. But apparently when she was on campus, she started to get whispers that there was really something real behind all this.
Well, I credit the university for really being proactive and going ahead with this. And I think now it'll become part of the university infrastructure of how they deal with their athletes on a year-by-year basis.
Mm-hmm.
And, the whole bottom line is the athletic department prides itself in the quality of athletes and people they bring in. Like I said, it's been a program that's hardly had any difficulties at all. The grade point average is just absolutely phenomenal. What they've accomplished in football and basketball has been absolutely spectacular. But we are dealing with human beings. We're dealing with young men. We deal with somebody that stepped over the line and may have done something really, really bad.
Hmm.
So I think in our closing comments, the only thing we can say is this process will continue. The university will complete its Title IX. We'll see when the police finally make public the information. And obviously, it's at the front door of the district attorney as to what they're going to do in terms of any type of charges that are leveled here. And then we'll see whether we have a civil trial that involves a lawsuit or whether we have a criminal trial involving Araiza. The woman's family lawyer said early Monday, today, that Araiza's lawyer made a financial settlement offer, which kind of stuns me because that was the same lawyer that made the comment last week that this is nothing more than a money grab.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, but the family of the girl has indicated they do not want to settle this financially. They want justice brought for what happened to that girl at the hands of those football players, allegedly. So we're probably looking at some form of charges, and then we're looking at some form of trial, and whether or not the lawsuit actually goes forward remains to be seen. But, the words that came to my mind were stain and dark. This is a real tough time for what San Diego State has to deal with. And it takes the shine off the start of a promising football season,
Yes.
and it takes the shine to a degree off the opening of the new football stadium. But that being said, as dark a cloud as this is, there will be better days ahead at San Diego State. And I was so bothered by what happened at the Monday press conference when those people stormed out, and then I felt so good when they came back in and actually answered some more questions. I gave them all a thumbs up. They're leaving because I thought it was the right thing to do, the responsible thing to do, a classy thing to do. So going forward, we'll see where the story goes. But boy, the last 96 hours in San Diego it's been so horrific to have to deal with that.